what's going on, guys? It's Coach Luca with Coach Joel Jamieson today, man, and we're gonna riff on some important stuff. All right, the important stuff is what everybody comes out. I know they talk to you about that
all
too. We train high-level elite athletes. We train kids. We train a lot of different people. But for a general population, most people ask me this question, right? I want to get strong and fit, and usually be out of pain, like move well, right? Like nobody wants to be strong and fit and be in pain. But the problem that we're seeing in a lot of training is this, right? I put up two pockets: strength and power, right? So being explosive, fast. You want to play pickup games. You want to play flag football, any of that stuff. You want to have strength and power.
And you want to look good, right?
You want to look good. You want to look good. So building muscle, getting stronger is part of, like, I would say, the pyramid of getting yourself to have good body composition. But this is the other part that's really important, right? Cardio and conditioning, meaning you can do stuff. You go for a long hike, you go play basketball games, right? You just can stay active. You can go for runs and do cool stuff like that and not get out of breath. Recover fast, because this is important for recovery too. And what we've seen a lot of is this, and you see it in different methods. I'm not going to name the methods where this happens. Now, I know you get this a lot, Joel.
All the time.
Circuits. Now, here's what I'm saying. Strength circuits. Give you an example. Have you seen, for instance, you're doing 10 squats, and like right off the bat, you go into a dumbbell bench press, and then you go into push the sled, and then you go into, and it's just circuits with strength exercises with a lot of load, with less load, higher reps. And the mentality is to do this and build this, okay? Now, since this is the guy that's the best in the world at conditioning, we're gonna ask him to riff on this, because how do we get strong and fit? And what do you think when it comes to, like I said, strength circuits, using strength training modalities to build them?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a great question. Like Lucas said, people want to get as much bang for their buck. So they think, well, I can get both at the same time. I can lift weights, get stronger, get more powerful, look better, and then get my conditioning in. So strength circuits the way to go. Well, first of all, the thing I'm going to ask you is, if your goal was to develop strength and power, would you jump on a bike or a treadmill and do a bunch of cardio? Is that going to get you stronger, more powerful? Probably not. Okay, so the answer as to why that's not necessarily the best idea is, let's look at what each of these areas actually do. All right, so our goal, let's say, is strength and power. So what does that really mean? Well, a bigger muscle is a stronger muscle for the most part. So we want to develop bigger muscles with stronger muscle fibers. We want to develop the ability of the nervous system to tap into more of those muscle fibers and to do so in a way that's more efficient, so our central nervous system. We also want to develop what's called the autonomic nervous system. This is what develops and produces adrenaline to help all of our muscles contract more forcefully, right? We develop things like bone density. We improve our metabolic in terms of our ability and metabolism to be more efficient in how it works from a neuromuscular standpoint. So in strength and power, we're really talking about bigger muscle fibers that can contract more effectively, we can contract more of them, and that's what leads to strength and power. Now, cardio conditioning, okay, exactly what that means depends on how you look at it, but ultimately we're trying to develop efficiency of the cardiovascular system. We're trying to pump as much blood and oxygen as we can through our body as long as we can. So we're talking about endurance. Now, a big, strong muscle fiber is not the same. In fact, it's many opposite ways of a muscle that can contract for a very, very long period of time. So this is about endurance, efficiency, cardiovascular system. It's about the parasympathetic nervous system of the autonomic branch. So it's about being able to produce energy for long periods of time and manage inflammation, manage recovery, all these sorts of things. So this is like your 700 horsepower truck. This is like your electric vehicle that can go forever on a single charge. These are very different things. The body is adapting to these in very different ways. The problem is you think, well, I'm just gonna do circuits in the middle of both of them. The reality is it's not really very good at either one, okay? A circuit's not really very good at developing these things because the intensity is generally too low to develop a whole lot of strength and power in a circuit, and it's producing higher blood pressures. It's not producing the level of endurance, not having the same impact on the cardiovascular system as cardiovascular exercises. So at the end of the day, the goal should be to pick the right tool for the job you're trying to accomplish, right? If you're trying to develop these qualities and these physical fitness factors, you want the methods, strength and power, heavy lifting, hypertrophy type methods, explosive methods. If your goal is cardiovascular conditioning, you want the methods that are going to develop that. Trying to smash everything into one methodology where you just kind of combine them together is really not the best way to approach it, because neither one of them get improved very effectively.
Because it's not, it pretty much it's not the best of both worlds. It's actually,
No, it's actually
it's
the worst
the exact
of both worlds.
opposite.
Exactly.
And
it's not good enough for this, and it's really not good at this either. So it's
Exactly.
generally speaking, not to say there's never a time to do it, there can be, but if this is how you're primarily trying to develop both strength and conditioning together, chances are you're not going to develop either one very highly.
Or pretty much, if you're lukewarm, I shall spit you out. It's that middle of the ground stuff.
Exactly.
But okay, but so this is where it comes into play. Let's say, all right, we got 2 to 3 times a week. This is what we recommend, and most people can do, right? 2 to 3 times a week, we're doing real strength training, right? We're doing dynamic warm-ups, then we're doing explosive stuff, then we're lifting heavy, and then we're doing things that like help develop, I would say, muscle mass, hypertrophy methods, different type of methods. And that's in and of itself, 2 to 3 times a week.
Yep.
What would somebody that wants to build kind of like across the board, they can go play an hour and a half of pickup basketball, be explosive, start, stop. Somebody goes like, hey, listen, we're gonna go for a 3 or 4 hour hike. They can do that, no problem. And they can go for long periods of time, go for a 10-hour walk to support a charity, something like that, across the board. What would you say for somebody that's doing 2 to 3 times a week strength training, what methods to plug in and how to plug them in? Just a general overview of that.
Right, so if you're doing, say, 2 or 3 days of strength training, first of all, it doesn't mean you can't do any cardiovascular work on your strength training.
Correct.
It means
Agreed.
the cardiovascular work you're going to be doing is not circuit training, it's the cardiovascular methods, cardiovascular training. So you can incorporate them in your warm-up, your cool-down. They can incorporate part of the workout as a whole, because there's no reason you can't incorporate this into your actual strength training days. Now, you're probably not going to do a huge volume because your goal is strength here, but you can get some in. But this also leaves you 4 to 5 additional days to get that type of work in. Typically, you just want to be active. So if you're talking about doing a hike, you're talking about playing basketball, you're talking about these things, if you can get these things consistently in throughout the week, that will probably take care of quite a bit of it. Now, typically I'm going to tell people at least 1 to 2 days a week, I do want to have some sort of higher intensity cardiovascular method. And by higher intensity, let's say 85, maybe up to 90% of your max. If you get 2 of those days a week in, of anywhere from, let's say, 10, 20 minutes, 30 minutes the max, that is enough, along with all the rest of the work, to maintain or develop a pretty good level of fitness for most people, because you're getting enough high intensity work to stimulate without overtraining, and you're adding some of the lower intensity work in on these days as well. If you can't get any of these higher intensity days, that means you just need more lower intensity days. So you just have to look at it from, what am I getting in here? Am I hiking? Am I doing anything from a sports standpoint? Am I getting anything in here? And if the answer is yes, you don't need more than a couple extra high intensity days. If the answer is no, then you're going to have to get more frequency at lower intensities.
Mm-hmm. And so what would you recommend, for instance, does it matter on the end of a strength power day? And most people only have so much time. So let's say I just did an hour of strength training. I got 10 to 15 minutes at the end. Would you plug in a higher intensity method, because this is kind of higher intensity work, at the end of that strength training session?
Yeah, you absolutely can. So the reality is, the higher your level of fitness, the more you have to separate things out, because it takes more focused, targeted work to continue to improve it. So somebody who's a high-level athlete or someone who's at a high-level fitness, you really want to separate things, but your average person who just wants to be strong and fit, and they want to stay in shape and be healthy, they're not at such a level of fitness that you can't put these together. So typically, yes, you're going to put you can put some sort of higher intensity work here at the end, and there's no reason that's going to have a big negative impact. If you reach a certain level of fitness where you really want to dial in one strength or conditioning, that's where you separate things out and become much more targeted. But like I said, average person, you can absolutely throw some stuff in here at the end.
And that's a great point. It's like when you're especially building general fitness, like you can do more of this. The more specific that the fitness gets, the more specific you have to get with training modalities and days and breaking them up. So that's something to pay attention to. Now, couple last things, like this is what I love, the lower intensity work, we highly recommend it. When you do tough training days are followed by rebound training days, which actually Joel coined that term, which are these active recovery days with like lower steady state cardio, mobility circuits, breathing drills. Matter of fact, I did a video that you guys can check out on that. But to dive deep into what Joel is talking about, and I'm talking about, really understanding energy systems and cardio and how to piece everything together, how to write programs. Joel's got the #1 course in the world for that, for conditioning. Where can they find out about that?
Learn more at 8weeksout.com. As Luke had mentioned, that's my Bioforce conditioning certification. And really, Luke, I created it for all these questions like you're getting now. Like, how am I strong, and how do I maintain fitness at the same time? How do I develop that? If you're a coach or a trainer, you've probably learned a whole lot about this side, because there's endless information out there about how to get bigger, how to get stronger, how to help people, develop their power and look great, but there's not a whole lot of information out there about how to actually improve their conditioning in a scientifically driven, proven method. And there's really even less information about how to put these pieces together. And that is really the problem. That's why we both get so many questions on it, because people are, coaches are confident. I know how to lift weights. I know how to help guys and girls get stronger, but I don't really know how to build a conditioning program, and I really don't know how to put those pieces together.
Putting it together. That's the big part.
It is a big part. It's for most people, they just want to look and feel their best. They want to live long. They want to stay injury-free, be pain-free. The reality is you need both of these. You can't develop this without putting these pieces together, but the wrong way to do it is to try to slam it in together with one method that doesn't really improve both. The answer is to learn how to build actual conditioning programs that combine the strength, the hypertrophy, the power with the cardio conditioning in a way that leads to continued progress. So that's the other thing I would say, is you see a lot of people like, oh, I'm getting better shape, I'm using circuits, and then 3 or 4 weeks later, like, man, I'm not really improving.
I'm stuck.
I'm stuck. Well, now what do? I don't know. Try a different circuit, right?
And this is the thing that we're seeing a lot of, right, is injuries. Because people will keep pushing this, right? And then you start getting injuries because there's not enough rest, there's not enough recovery. Too much of it is too high intensity. And it's like, I like to call this a strength and conditioning Tetris. Like, that's what Joel's done well, where it's like, how do you fit these puzzle pieces together for whatever goal it is? Because like I said, he's training the highest level fighters, athletes on the planet, as well as, like I said, developing this for I would say your client that wants to just get fitter, get better, move better, like get out of the, like I'm beat up all the time zone. If you're like feeling like you're beat up all the time and you're working hard, this is like, how do you work smart to get the most out of your training, to get the most out of your cardio, and really understand how to put this all together, principle-based, rather than just throwing stuff at the wall.
Exactly.
So with that said, if you want strength and conditioning Tetris, go to 8weeksout.com and check out. And plus, there's tons and tons of incredible information, blogs, videos that you'll learn a ton from. So we'll see you in the next video, dropping some coaching tips, dropping some tips on strength and conditioning. Coach Luca, Coach Joel, peace out.